Hello everyone, thanks again for stopping by my channel. Hardware Flipper here, and if you are stopping for the first time, I flip used PCs, laptops, monitors on eBay, and I also sell on my website. you know Today is Tuesday. It's there about 10:30 in the morning, and I'm just sitting down here in front of my computer. I did wake up very early, say about 5 o'clock, and I listed a lot of items, laptops. I think about three laptops, 4 or 5 mini PCs, just to keep the whole business running, because this is what we do, flipping PCs and making money off it, or laptops. It's not all about just coming here to YouTube and make videos about what I've sold and what didn't sell or what the customers are returning. It's also about the back end, the things that you do when nobody is watching. And one of the things that we do when no one is watching is that we list items. We list items, we correct listings, we compare prices, we take a look at what the competition is doing, we see what's working. Take a look at the market analytic tool that eBay has given to us, pretty much what we call Therapy. I don't really know if the name is still Therapy, but I keep saying Therapy. You understand what I mean. We take a look at that to see what particular laptop is currently trending, because that's a major strategy to use to win in this street. Guys, understand that there is the part of making YouTube videos. This is the kind of movie type of flipping pieces for profit. There's a real business part of it, and the business part of it is what this video is kind of talking about, not the glamorous flipping pieces for profit. You know what I mean? Okay, so I was sitting here and taking a look, having listed these items, just taking a look at the everything I have done for the better parts of 10 years. If I go to my eBay shop now, I can see that if I go to the let's see the information. I started this eBay account on the 2nd of April 2013. All right, and today is the last day of March, so any moment from now it's gonna be April, and this is a very good time to actually reflect on everything that has happened. It's going to be 12 years and 11 months. I'm just checking, ChatGPT, let's just say 13 years to put it in, so that you can pretty much, relate to what I mean. I'm taking a look at my life, what has, gone down in the last 13 years. And I am shocked. And one of the things that I have constantly, realized is that at every given time, in my whole development in this business, in my private life, the ability to change things has always been a constant, factor. Getting married, even moving all the way from Nigeria to Germany, it was a change thing, and my willingness to change my location was there. Getting married, my willingness to change my marital situation was there. Having kids, my willingness to change, the fact that I was a single man, having all kind of time to do all kind of things, but the ability to say, no, I want to change things. I want to be a responsible man. I want to have kids. That was also change. The ability to sit down and say, look, I don't just want to sit here all day long and just be in front of the TV, watching movies and stuff like that. I want to change my life. Taking the first step, even though at the time I had a job, but taking the first step to, change the way I spend my time, that was there. The ability to change and create an eBay account, that was also change. And then starting to do this business, picking up stuff, items that people were throwing away at the time, going to pick them and clean them and putting them on the platform. That was change. And at the time I was selling all manner of stuff, printers, household wash machine, fridges, everything you can think of. And the point of also sitting and say, look, I have to change this business model, because yes, truth be said, there was a lot of money to be made, flipping furnitures, heavy electronic items like deep freezers, fridges, and stuff like that. But I knew that that model wasn't also sustainable because anytime I needed to pick up a heavy electronic, a device or a wash machine, for example, and I always needed somebody to be with me. So it wasn't a business that I could actually do myself. At the time, my wife was very, very helpful, going with me to all these, missions, we call it at the time, but it is what it is. At some point, we grow older, we are not so strong to do the things that we used to do before. And I decided to change the business model to what I have right now, which is pretty much just focusing on desktop PCs, laptops, monitors, tablets, iPad, these kind of devices that you can easily, pick up from point A, bring to point B, and flip for profit. Of course, this is one of the hottest category you have out there on eBay. Taking a look at all these things that have gone down, that I've really been involved in for the better part of 13 years, I'm just like, your ability to change is going to determine a lot that's going to happen to you. And if you are still there, you are still very, adamant, you don't want to change. Anytime you see an opportunity to change things, you are either giving excuses. No, I don't want to do this. I'm not ready. You might be the bottleneck, kind of holding yourself back. But the funny thing is that you kind of had these big dreams. You dream to want to make money. You dream to have a business. You dream to be self-sustaining. You do not like the job that you do, but at the same time, you are averse to change. You never ever want to, take the bold step and do something differently. You still wake up every day at 7 o'clock. The moment you hear that it's possible to wake up at 4 a.m., you are like, what? At this time, I'm just starting. My sleep is just going to the third gear. You do not want to do it because you feel like it's going to inconvenience you. I'm telling you, every change I ever made, the beginning was very, very difficult. Like literally very, very difficult, very, very inconveniencing. Most of the changes threw me off balance. The idea to come to Germany already threw me off balance. I needed to sell all the things I ever had in Nigeria at the time, my car, my apartment, at the time I had a 3-bedroom, apartment, fully furnished. Everything had to be sold for pretty much cheap because I needed the money cash quickly, and there was just no way to really negotiate on those items and get good returns on my investment at the time. All right. Coming here, the ability, thinking of renting a warehouse. I didn't mention that initially. I was also, operating from my garage. The garage became too small, and I said to myself, I'm going to change this workspace. And then the garage had no heating device, and when it's winter, it's always so cold. It was terrible, and I said to myself, I'm going to change. I'm going to rent a warehouse. At the time, I didn't even know how the money was going to, come out, but I did do it, and it's been more than 6 years of operating from a warehouse. That was also change. It cost me a lot of effort, and even up till now, sometimes, because eBay is what it is. Sometimes on months, you do not get a lot of items selling, and because of that, it just kind of messes up with your finances if you are not careful, if you've not done your due diligence, which I'm coming to in a few minutes. You see, that was a major change. Taking the bull by the horn and saying, I am going to rent a warehouse. That's a major change. Yes, it did throw me off balance financially. It threw me off balance because I needed to now begin to drive every day to the warehouse location, which is like 15 kilometers from my house. But this singular change made my business to even grow bigger, made me to take up new challenges. It was even one of the changes that necessitated me making videos on YouTube, because I realized that in the warehouse was a lot of space, and every day I came to the warehouse was just something going on. There was just a lot of data, a lot of activities, and I felt like these activities, for one reason or the other, I am doing something wrong if I am not documenting it. When I was in my garage, it was so small, things were all jam-packed everywhere. The idea of making videos didn't even come to my mind because it was just not convenient. But today, I even kind of think back and think that, look, it would have been possible to even make videos there if I really wanted to. But long story short, it was all about changes. And up till now, I am still changing. And whenever I see a new opportunity to change something about my life, especially something that will move the needle to the direction where I'm going, I am not hesitant to take that change. Right now, I'm also going through a very major change. Hopefully in a few months, everything would have been settled, the dust will be settled, will give me a new motivation to even do more of the things that I am doing, which is, focusing on my business, trying to live a more healthy life, trying to exercise more, just sitting down, drinking coffee all day long. In fact, I drink coffee every day. What I mean, just sitting down, drinking a bottle of beer, not doing anything, not flexing your muscles, and just keep telling yourself, yes, the flipping pieces I do is also a little bit physical. We need to, sometimes move ourselves, raise some heavy equipment, but that's not enough. There's a place of going to the gym. There's a place of, physically going somewhere and telling yourself, I want to put myself under this train. I'm going to, lift this weight. I want to do this push-up or something like that. This is also my focus. And also to automate this business, and then see how I can actually outsource, which is also going to be a change thing for me, to outsource some part of my processes, especially when it comes to editing my YouTube videos. I realize that takes a lot of time from me. All right. Also, sometimes posting these offers, but just that I have a lot of fears about me outsourcing my listing to somebody, because the kind of listings I do, first of all, they take a lot of time and they are very, very technical, and one little mistake can mess up a lot of stuff. I list my items as variation listings, and the prices, of different items listed are different. In the situation where the prices are mixed up and somebody goes ahead and buys the wrong price, yes, I have the option of canceling the transaction, but this is just something I don't know if I really want to outsource that. But of course, editing these videos, especially these talking head videos, definitely is something in new direction that I am really taking a look at, because editing these videos is not what really moves the needle. What moves the needle in my own situation is listing on eBay, searching out the good offers, reaching out to suppliers, and making sure that the devices are fully functional, and even perhaps something very new, going live on eBay, to show potential buyers that a device like this is available for sale, and offering discounts. And these are the things that I really want to focus on. Editing YouTube videos, sitting down here and editing a video for like say 30 minutes up to 45 minutes, and then they get 3 views. I think this is not what I want to do. So what am I saying in effect? Do not be scared of changing certain things in your life. I do not know who is watching this video. Perhaps you are sitting there on your couch and you are telling yourself, I really want to do something with my life, but I'm so scared to take some changes. Some of you, it might even be that your relationship needs to be changed. Believe me when I say that, because sometimes your relationship might pretty much be what's holding you back, from moving to the next level. All right. Some of you, your friends, some of you, your locations, some of you, your eating habits, your sleeping habits, these are different things holding different people back. But I'm making this video to encourage you before I, jump out now and drive out. If you are there still struggling, thinking in your head that, look, how is it possible that I will change this aspect of my life? It's going to be very bad. It's going to be very, sad. It's going to really make me feel not. Yes, these are the many thinkings I also had in the days or in the times I was, going through these changes. But today, I look back and say to myself, the best thing I ever did was to have made this change. This video is talking to you. Please go ahead, smash the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Until I see you again in the next video. Peace out.